Hello students, in this part we'll be learning about the lymphatic system. Along with the blood, there is one more fluid that flows through our body that is called as lymph. And lymph flows inside the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system comprises of lymph vessels. In lymph vessels, we'll be discussing about lymph ducts and lymph capillary. And the third one is the lymph nodes. Lymph nodes, these are the small structures present along with the lymphatic vessels. Right? So lymph is the fluid that flows through the lymphatic system. Now let us now learn how this lymph is formed. This is your heart, and through your heart the blood is pumped into the arteries. These arteries, they divide to form number of smaller arteries and arterioles. And these arterioles further divides to form the capillary. Right? Now the blood in arteries comes with very high hydrostatic pressure. And we all know the difference in the width of the arterioles and the capillaries. The capillaries, they are comparatively narrower as compared to the artery. So tell me whether these capillaries can tolerate such a high hydrostatic pressure. The answer is no, they cannot tolerate. Since the capillaries cannot tolerate the high hydrostatic pressure, the liquid part of the blood, it oozes out and becomes the part of the tissue fluid. Right? Now this liquid part is present as a tissue fluid which now enters the lymphatic capillary. Right? Now why do they enter the lymphatic capillary? First thing, just imagine if we have 5 liters of blood in our body, and every time with each cardiac cycle, if 10 ml of blood oozes out as tissue fluid, what will happen to the volume of the blood? The volume of the blood is going to decrease. So it is very important to pour back this tissue fluid back to the bloodstream. And for that, we need the lymphatic capillary and the lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic capillaries pick up the tissue fluid, they join to form the lymphatic vessel, and these lymphatic vessel pours the secretion back to the blood. Right? So right now we have learned how lymph is formed and how lymph is poured back to the blood. Now we'll learn what is the composition of the lymph. Lymph consists of WBCs. It only consists of WBCs, no RBC, no platelets. The non-cellular part of the lymph consists of water and other substances like fat, carbohydrates and the enzyme. Now we'll talk about the lymph vessels. Right now I have just now told you that lymph vessels, will be discussing about the lymph capillaries and the lymph ducts. So the first category in lymph vessel is the lymph capillaries. Lymphatic capillaries, they are lined with endothelium. So if we talk about lymphatic capillaries, one of the major capillary that we are aware with is the lacteal. Lacteal is present in the villi. And what is the function of lacteal in the villi? To absorb fatty acids and glycerol. Presence of fatty acids and glycerol gives lymph a white color. That is why this special lymphatic capillary is named as lacteal, which means milky. Right? So lacteal collects the fatty acids and glycerol from the lumen of the small intestine. The second lymphatic vessel is the lymphatic ducts. Lymphatic ducts, it comprises of two main lymphatic ducts. The first one is a right lymphatic duct and the second one is a thoracic duct. If you look into this diagram, the right lymphatic duct, as the name tells us, collects the lymph from the right part of the body and pours it back to the bloodstream. Right? Now if we look over here, the right lymphatic duct pours the lymph back into the right subclavian vein. And this right subclavian vein pours the blood back to the right atrium. It means the lymph passes through the lymphatic capillaries, it enters the right lymphatic duct, then it comes to the right subclavian vein, then goes into the right atrium. In the same way, the thoracic duct collects the lymph from the left parts of your body, brings it to the left subclavian vein, and this left subclavian vein pours the blood along with the lymph into the right atrium. So what happened just now? The lymph got back into the blood stream. How the lymph entered the lymphatic ducts? In this picture you can see these presence of the arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules and the veins along with the lymphatic capillary. So when the tissue fluid is coming out of the capillary, it is picked up by the lymphatic capillaries, and these lymphatic capillaries join to form the lymphatic ducts. Like in the blood, in the case of the cardiovascular system, the small capillaries, they join to form venules and venules join to form veins. In the same way, these lymphatic capillaries, they join to form the lymphatic ducts. So there is something common between the lymphatic ducts and the vein. The first thing is that the lymph in the lymphatic duct, it moves because of the contraction of the surrounding muscles. And the second, the lymphatic vessels have presence of valves. So these are the two similarity between the lymph vessels and the veins. First, the lymph moves because of the contraction of the muscles, and the blood in the veins also moves because of the contraction of the muscles. The second similarity is that veins also have presence of the valves and lymph vessels also have presence of the valves. If you look the diagram over here, the lymphatic vessels, they have presence of the valve, and the presence of the valve allows the unidirectional movement of the lymph, as it was the case with the veins. Now because of the presence of the valves in the lymphatic system or the lymphatic vessels, they appear to be beaded. Okay, these structures, wherever you have presence of the valves, all these places would look beaded. Okay, so if the question comes, why the lymphatic vessel appear to be beaded? Because of the presence of the valves, right? Now the third part is the lymph nodes. Lymph nodes, as I have discussed before, these are the small structure that works as the filter for harmful substances. These lymph nodes, although they are present all over the body, they are present everywhere, but the maximum number of lymph nodes, they are present in the neck, armpit and the groin. These lymph nodes, they act as the filter for the pathogen. If the pathogen enters the body, these lymph nodes will act as a filter and remove the pathogen. These lymph nodes produces lymphocytes. They are the reservoir of the WBCs. They are reservoir of the blood. They produce the lymphocytes. Now we'll discuss the function of the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system returns excess tissue fluid from your tissues to the blood, and we have discussed this point. What will happen if the tissue fluid gets accumulated instead of being returned back to the blood? It will lead to a condition which is called as edema. And what is edema? That we have discussed in the first or the second lecture of this series. Because of the presence of WBCs, lymphatic system prevents us from diseases. Now one of the major lymphatic organ is the spleen. Spleen is a lymphatic organ and the location is behind the stomach in the abdominal cavity. Spleen is a blood reservoir. It is called as a blood reservoir because it produces lymphocytes. Apart from the production of the lymphocyte, spleen is also called as a graveyard of RBCs. RBCs, they have a lifespan of 120 days. After that, it dies. So where does it go after death? It goes to the spleen. That is why spleen is called as a graveyard of RBC. Spleen also produces RBCs in the embryonic stage. Right, so this ends the chapter over here. We'll start the next chapter, that is excretory system.